should probably go after people like you. Maybe they'll have to go after you.
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
You remember when Charlie Kirk said, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. And this guy died with a shirt that said freedom. And now we have Pam Bondi saying this.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
We will go after you if you're targeting people with hate speech. The hate speech that Charlie Kirk said doesn't legally exist in America. So you only have free speech, according to the current administration, when you say things we like. This is Pam Bondi, who's actively involved in covering up the largest known pedophile ring in the history of mankind, while the FBI and Kash Patel are making up stories surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. But we are assured that this clip is taken out of context and that there's an extended clip that clears everything up. We're going to listen to that extended clip right now and see if you think it changes anything with regard to free speech and the First Amendment.
When a conservative will go on campus, right, they go with all this police and security. These universities are complicit in allowing conservatives to be harassed on campus. And what happens when you allow a university to harass conservatives and don't expel or don't take an action?
Now, she didn't define what harassment was. A lot of people are thinking, well, there are these disagreements. There are people who are showing up at these right-wing events and they're protesting. A lot of people view that as harassment. And if they're burning Israeli flags, they call that anti-Semitic because you have some harsh words of criticism against the Israeli government. And Pam Bondi's going to get into that. But people conflate actions, and the right does it, the left does it. They conflate actions with words. And then they want to vilify the words as though they were actions.
Is what happened last week.
It is. And, you know, on a broader level, the anti-Semitism, what's been happening at college campuses around this.
In the Trump administration, and with the words of Bibi Netanyahu, anti-Semitism is the Kevlar vest and bubble wrap they surround themselves with when they don't want to hear criticism about what the government in Israel is doing with innocent people.
This country is disgusting. It's despicable. And we've been fighting that. We've been fighting these universities left and right, and we're not going to stop. There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
That's cuffs on people, physical cuffs on people who speak words that you don't like, that you are going to label hate speech. And that brings us back to the old and tired question, who gets to define what hate speech is? And if you're going to define it as hate speech, you're saying you're going to deploy the government against us for speaking what you consider hate speech?
Anything. And that's across the aisle. I mean, look what happened. Think about Josh Shapiro. What happened to Governor Shapiro? I talked to Josh multiple times. Democrat governor, Jewish. They firebombed his house while his wife and children were sleeping upstairs. It's a miracle.
She's conflating firebombs with words you don't like. She's conflating physical acts of violence with what she calls hate speech, which is free speech. In essence, Pam Bondi sees free speech as an act of violence.
Nothing worse happened to, it's a miracle that nothing happened to Josh and he and his family are safe. They're traumatized, but that's what's happened in this world, and we are going to fight every step of the way to show that you will face the most severe consequences if you come after someone and you target someone for their political views or for any reason at all.
In my opinion, nothing that Bondi said in the longer clip is consistent with protecting First Amendment rights to freedom of speech. A reporter asked Donald Trump, what do you make of Bondi saying she's going after hate speech? A lot of allies say that hate speech is free speech.
That'll come to a vote, but we'll see what happens.
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you.
Maybe they'll have to go after you. Maybe you're the purveyor of hate speech. Let me just read what Donald Trump said again. Probably go after people like you. You treat me unfairly. You have hate in your heart. Imagine a government official saying, hey, I'm going to determine who has hate in their heart. I'm going to determine what hate speech is, and I'm going to deploy my government on you and put the cuffs on you and kidnap you and throw you into a cage because you said something I didn't like, because you have hate in your heart. Trump also said, ABC paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. Maybe they'll go after you. And lest you think there's some kind of misunderstanding, this is what Pam Bondi said when she appeared on Sean Hannity's show.
I know, look, I make my living with the First Amendment, Madam Attorney General. You passionately believe in and support the First Amendment. There are certain things you cannot do. You cannot cry fire or scream fire in a crowded theater. You cannot make terroristic threats against individuals. I believe that law was broken with doxing of Supreme Court justices and people that work, ICE agents, for example. I think we are right there on that line, and I think some of those people have crossed it and probably should be prosecuted. But you also are watching and reading and hearing, this never-ending, celebration of the left. We saw it with the United Healthcare CEO and the praise of Luigi Mangione, and you're seeing it in this case. It is evil, it is dark, it is sick, it is incomprehensible. Are there any, where does it become a legal issue from your vantage point as Attorney General?
Well, sure, we all believe in the First Amendment, and these people speak horrible things. I think yesterday or today, Sean, a school board member right here in Virginia had to resign because she said horrible things about Charlie Kirk and that he deserved to die. That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things. And they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that.
You have to let them do that. The government is saying, hey, you businesses, you have to serve these people because the government says you have to, and you don't have a choice. Now, there's no misunderstanding among conservatives here, even those who support the current administration, because Matt Walsh says, get rid of her today. This is insane. Conservatives have fought for decades for the right to refuse service to anyone. We won that fight. Now Pam Bondi wants to roll it back for no reason. The employee who didn't print the flyer was already fired by his employer. This stuff is being handled successfully through free speech and free markets. This is totally gratuitous and pointless. We need the AG focused on bringing down the left-wing terror cells, not prosecuting Office Depot, for God's sake. Israeli bot Brett Weinstein says, I didn't vote for this. I voted against it. No, Brett, you and Matt voted for this exact same thing. When you want a political ruling class robbing and controlling the rest of us, this is exactly what you get every single time. History is replete with examples of this. And if you don't learn from history, which they don't, you're doomed to repeat history. But others are applauding this crackdown on free speech, hate speech too, like Sky News. First, they play this clip from little Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State.
We are not in the business of inviting people to visit our country who are going to be involved in negative and destructive behavior. Okay? So why should, if I invite someone, if we invite someone to visit the United States of America as a student, as a tourist, as whatever, then they have a different, the standard they should be held to is very high. We shouldn't be bringing people into this country. We should not be giving visas to people who are going to come to the United States and do things like celebrate the murder, the execution, the assassination of a political figure. We should not. And if they're already here, we should be revoking their visa.
In other words, he's conflating distasteful, objective, and gross words with violent and vile actions. To which Sky News says,
Brittany, I could not support this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree, of course, 1000%. Now, some argue on the other side, well, we're talking about free speech, and Charlie Kirk was all about free speech. However, there's a huge difference between freedom of speech and hate speech.
Oh, is there now? And what exactly is that difference? Because remember, Charlie Kirk, who you claim to defend, said that hate speech doesn't exist legally in America.
And the radical left, what they're doing right now, celebrating an innocent man's political assassination, is hate speech. And 1000%, if you're here on a visa, if you're here visiting our country, you should be out if you are celebrating this man's death.
So if you use your free speech to celebrate the death of somebody you don't like, the current administration will go after you as though you committed a violent act.
They'll probably go after people like you. Maybe they'll have to go after you.
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
And this is what you always get when you vote for the two-party, uniparty system that's controlled by the bankers and the corporate elitists. You get more laws, regulations, and policies, which equals less freedom. Don't subscribe to this channel. Don't hit the bell notification. Don't like and share this video. Free speech ain't hate speech, folks. And if you can't speak your mind in America without getting attacked by the government, you're not free.